how can you move from one string to another, how can you make an animation. But first, I'll go with some basics of concepts. So, this is what you've been doing. Sketches, wireframes, and static mockups is what you presented today. And today we're going to learn how to do prototypes. For that we're going to use proto.io. But first, let's go with some basic concepts that we need to understand in order to do the prototyping. So first, what are layers? Layers is a concept that, that represents the fact that you can have different objects, one on top of the other. So as you can see on the left side here, you see the gray square, which is on the bottom. And then on top of it, you see one line, which is the horizontal line that we see on the right side of the screen. And then on top of it, then we see another line, which is a vertical line, which produces this image that we see here. So in the end, we always see the layer that is on top, and then we see the rest, and we see the composition of these layers. Okay? So this is very important because we are going to be placing components in the prototype in this way. So one on top of the other. Then what we're going to be using are assets. And these assets are any graphic, image, text, or video that you're going to use in the prototype. And these are, of course, used to create a user interface. The best assets are designed in vector graphics with no backgrounds, as the one you can see here. And well, we're going to see why vector instead of bitmaps is the best option to go to. So we have the difference between an image that comes as a bitmap and an image that comes as a vector. So when we talk about images, we have these two types. And the main characteristic of a bitmap image is that it is a matrix of dots, or what we know as pixels, that all together create the image that we know. What happens with bitmaps is that whenever you zoom in, you will always see the pixels, and therefore the quality of the image might be reduced, even if you create a very, very big bitmap image. On the contrary, we have vector graphics, which are made of mathematical functions, and these characteristics make them be able to get the whichever size and can be scaled, and they will never lose the quality. So advice, try to get vector graphics. Go for vector graphics instead of bitmaps. So as I mentioned before, we're going to use proto.io. Proto.io is a system that allows you to create prototypes. There are other tools that we can use to create prototypes, but that have more restricted functionality. So you can use Keynote or you can use PowerPoint, and you can create basic interactive prototypes with this. But the problem is that if you want to go further and create animations or real-looking keyboards or other features that look more like real-life apps, then most likely Keynote and PowerPoint will remain short. So other tools besides from proto.io that you can use are InVision or Adobe XD. InVision, you have to pay a subscription for it, and Adobe XD is free, so that one you can use if you want. So the fundamentals for proto.io, and these are three concepts that are very important so that you don't get lost while doing the prototype. First, we have the container. Containers are reusable custom components that can contain the UI. So the first example that we're going to do is about containers, and you use containers to duplicate or have different elements or components in your prototype, so that you don't have to be constantly copying and pasting or doing the same thing. Then we have screens, and as the name says, screen is what you see from the prototype. And a prototype is made of multiple screens. And then we have states, which allows the designers to change the components from one state to another, so to change the color or to move from one state to another. Okay? We're going to do, the first example is just about containers and states, because if you understand how to do this, then you can go and do the rest without trouble. So, just to take a look at the interface of Prada.io, it's quite simple. You will see that you have demo projects there, and you will also see this button to create your new project. So, if you click on that button, then you can create a new project. So here, be careful before you start rushing and creating the prototype very fast. Take care of the resolution, so depending on the device that you're going to use, then pick the correct one. Don't rush, and for these examples that we're going to use, you need to pick the iPhone 11, not this one, but the one that's iPhone 11, which is updated in the website. Don't pick another one, otherwise the assets that I will give you will not work. So be careful with that. So taking a look at the interface, the most important parts are the top left, where you will have your screens. So let's say the home screen, the profile screen, the action screen, or whatever screen you pick. Then you're going to have the layers here, and this is where we're going to put the components, so this is what I just told you. And then on the upper side part, you will have the save button. Always save your prototype before previewing it, otherwise you won't see the changes. Then we have this part here where you have the assets. So you have basic or basic chips, or depending on the platform that you're going to use, then you can check for different libraries for iOS or Android, depending on what you want to use, or even for material design, if that's something that you're sticking with. And then here at the bottom, you get to see the place where you're going to put the assets. And the assets are the images, the text, the videos that you're going to use in your prototype. So for the next minutes, what we're going to do is we're going to go with an interactive prototype of Instagram, which is an app that many people, you will know, and that has different interactions that are very useful for you, like scrolling and moving from one screen to another. So what I want you to do is to download the assets that are there from this link on the bottom left. So download them. Those are the ones we're going to use. And then if you want to check what's the final result that we're going to, what you're going to be doing, you can visit this link.
There is no slide available. Yeah, we don't have the slide.
Come on. That's problem.
I'm doing it.
Thank you. Alright, so then you download the assets, and then you can check the interactive prototype, so you'll be able to see how it looks like. Basically, it's like looking at Instagram, but not fully functional.
Okay, if you refresh, it should be there now.
Is it?
So, what you'll be doing today is learning how to do this vertical scroll, learning how to do this horizontal scroll up here, then learning how you can move to another page like this, and doing this type of interactions over here, and similar in this way. So part animation. So going back to the slides, this is what I told you. We're going to see what containers are, vertical scroll, horizontal scroll, transition, and animations. With this first five interactions, you'll be able to go with the rest. So the rest is type inside bar menu. You most likely will know how to do them if you know how to do the first four. So what I did is that you have a link for a video, which is the file, so you can download the video where I do all the interaction, or you can visit the YouTube link and then you can see the video how to do it. I will go and do it from scratch here, everything with you, at least for these first 4 interactions. If you feel that I'm going too fast or too slow, then feel free to go with the video, and then you can do it at your own speed. We're going to do this for all these interactions. I'll explain it to you, and then you will have some time to do them yourself. And again, if you feel like you can go faster, then just go and finish the exercise. There's going to be a point in the class where you will just work on your own prototype. So yeah, just learn the basics. And if there's any interaction that I'm not covering here that you want to do, then let me know and we can figure out a way to do it. Okay? So, any questions? Okay. So let's go and jump to Pro.io. So as I told you, you go here. Everyone's here, or you're a bit behind? Good?
Do we have to create an account for this?
Yes.
Yes.
We said
Okay, so let's do the new project. So I will name it Instagram. Remember to pick iPhone 11, iPhone 11. And then go and create the project. So the first thing I'll do is to go with the concept of containers. So we're going to create a container. So we do this. Here in the new container, you go and create a container. The important thing about containers is that those are the ones that allow you to do transitions from one state to another. And this is what we're going to do. So let's say I grab this oval, and then this is just a shape. Shapes do nothing but be shapes. They do not have any animation. To do an animation, you need to right click on it and then convert it to container. Okay? When you convert it to a container, then when you hover it, it's done. Then you double click and you get inside that container. You see? Okay? And here, I need to make this larger. So this is where some magic happens. Basically, a container can have states. We have this first state, which we are going to name, let's say, off. So this is the off state. And now what we want to do is that whenever we click on it, it will become green. So let's say like an animation of a button. So we create a new state. We name it, again, and we put it on. And the next thing we're going to do is to bring another oval. But this time, we're going to change the color. Wait. False. What we're going to do is to just change the color to green. Okay? Like this. So in this way we have off, which is gray, and we have another state, which is green. Right? Now, what we want to do is to transition. Whenever we tap on it, it will become green. So to do these transitions, we click on it and we see this thunder over here, and we just drag the arrow to the state where we want to go, and then you create the transition. So now we have a transition from gray to green, but we also want to transition from green to gray. So we tap on the green, and then we did the same thing, but we just moved to the other state, which is off. And that's it. And with this, you can do all the transitions and buttons and everything you need. So this is very, very basic and important. So here you can see the transitions from off to on, and from on to off. Pretty much.
Can you demonstrate that on the preview?
So if we go back, then remember we had the container where we put the circle. So remember, save, and then you go to the preview and wait for it to load. And it's not here.
Is it?
I know. I forgot something. I created a container, but I didn't put it on the screen. You see? So the thing is that I need to go to screens, so that I have the screen here on the right. Then I click on container so that I see the container, and then I just grab it here and put it. So I do the preview, and then it should be there. And that's it. Another, so if that went well, then we can do another one, which is a little animation of a star that gets inside a box. Yes?
Can we all work on the same prototype in the team, like Google Docs?
Oh, yeah, that's the problem. No, Pro.io doesn't have that feature. That's the problem. Yeah. So for the class, then you should work everyone in your own, and then for the project, then just pick one account and work on that one. Yeah.
So we recommend that there is only one person, the software engineer, that actually does that, and the others basically contribute with assets and the other stuff, right? But yeah, you cannot split the work, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Again, when you put the container on the screen.
The what?
The container on the
yes.
screen.
You go to screens, then this gets updated, and then you select the screen. Basically, it's like this. So you see the screen here, and then you click on containers, and then you drag and drop the container here. Yes.
The program only have 15 days of trial.
Yeah, that's why you need to send me your email so that I can contact Pro.io and they will extend you for a month.
Can you come back to how you define that it's on over that become green?
Yes. So if you go to the container, you have it here, and then you get inside, and then you have it here.
Yeah, and or did you define that it's on over or on clicks that change the code?
Yes, that's a good question. So you see here on the right side, there you have on top, change state out, oval, one container. So if you go here, then you have many options of what you can do. You see? The default is stop, and the action is change container state, but you can be as creative as you want by looking at all the things you can do depending on the interactions you wanna do. So what else? Yeah, there's so many settings, like the delay, so you can play with this. Okay, so I'll do another one, which is useful as well. Again, you go to the library, you drag and drop a rectangle, and you convert it to a container so that you can animate it. And then when you convert it to the container, you double click on it so you get inside. And we're going to do the same thing. But this time it's a square that is empty and then it's full with a star. So I will rename it as empty. And then I create another state.
Wait, sorry, can you redo how you convert to a container?
Yes. to here. You just drag and drop the shape, right? And then you right click and then you click convert to container. And then when it's a container, you double click on it and then you get inside. And I was saying that we have two states. So you have the empty one and the full one. The full is with the star. So we're going to look for a star here. Drag and drop the star. And we're going to change the color. And the star is going to do this. So you click on it, and then you just move it down. This is the full state. So you have an empty state, and then you have a full state. And then we're going to do the transition in the same way. So you click on it, you look at the thunder, you drag and drop to the full state. You accept it here. Here you can change whatever type of interaction you want. Yeah?
And now, can you define that if I click on the circle, it do this interaction?
Say that again?
So when I click on the circle, not
Yes.
this one, but the circle, it's move the state into.
Yeah, I think you should. Let me see if I can do it.
Okay.
Just let me finish with this one. So then this other state will be to go up. You transition from this one to empty. So you will end up with both states. And because the container is already in the screen, then it should work. Should work. Yeah, so that's the thing. Now what you were saying is that if I do this, the star will come into the box. Let's see. So that'll be
It is not on the other.
yeah, maybe you
element?
need to do it one level up.
Yeah.
Maybe here, then we create an interaction that says that when you tap, wait, cut stop.
Yes, and you can select the content.
Yeah, then you can
Yeah.
pick
The rectangle. Yes.
yeah, the rectangle, and then you move from let's say next state. Let's see. If not, then we can see later.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. So that's about containers and states. Let me go back. So this is the first one. Then you can see the video and replay the YouTube video if you want. But now it's your turn, but I guess you guys were already doing it, right? Okay, so let's go to the next one. So this is about the vertical scroll. You got the assets. So just my advice would be don't drag and drop them here because it might make it crash or slow down. Just keep them on a folder separately like this, and then you just drag and drop them. So the first thing is to create a new screen. So let's create one and name it home. And what we're going to do is to take the home image and
Show the asset before loading it. Yeah.
this one. Well, it's named home.
So this is typically a static picture, okay? And you can either do this, I mean, if you have your mocks already, you can start from the mocks that you already have. And then on top of the static mocks, you add additional interaction.
Yeah, and keep in mind, for instance, that here I'm leaving everything. I basically took a screenshot from Instagram. So you can see here this the stories, but you could also just don't have them. I left them. You will see that in the next interaction, we're going to put a strip of stories on top of it. So it doesn't matter if the stories are here or not. You can just have only the components that you will need, which in this case is just this part of well, basically it's just the header where it says Instagram and footer where you can see the icons. But let's move on. So drag and drop in here. Because it's too big, then go to the width and type 375. So you don't have to resize it manually. So you do this, and then you place it, then you do this like this, and then you have it there. And now we're going to add a container right on top of the area that it's going to do the scroll. Okay. But one thing, I said a container, but this is not a container, this is a shape. So I put a shape and I want to convert it to a container. I right click on it and you convert it to a container and then you get inside, double clicking, and then you're here. So this is the space where we're going to